JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 26th of November 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always guys, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, jumping into the charts, quick update on what's happening here with Nikkei. Nikkei popped higher, moved to the upside, however, still kind of didn't really reach yesterday's high, or in other words, this week's current high, which is around the 26,706 zone. However, I mean, still there was a good result here. I mean, at least Nikkei didn't end up dropping below the 26,000 mark. It remained above it, and basically, yep, the bulls kind of kicked in and pushed higher. However, now looking at this picture, looking at this technical picture here on the daily chart, well, to be honest, I would prefer to wait for a push above this 26,706 zone just to be on the safe side, because such a move here or such a break would confirm a forthcoming higher high. Just a quick mention as well that the U.S. Markets are closed today, so yep, there's probably not going to be much excitement during the US session unless something comes up, but probably the main focus, not probably, but the main focus will be on Europe today. So and of course on the Brexit talks. So let's see how all that's going to end up being. But for now, basically the situation here on Nikkei, yep, that we are waiting. Shanghai Composite, similar story, also pushed a little bit higher. I talked about this idea yesterday, if you remember, that what I was saying, that my next target is this 21-day EMA shown as the yellow line. We've managed to reach that area wonderfully, so great. What else I was saying, that if this area, this 21-day EMA, continues to provide good support, then we might see a nice rebound and a push higher. As we can see, this is what's happening so far. Now, to be honest, looking at this picture, yes, I'm still kind of considering this idea here of maybe seeing Shanghai Composite moving higher, especially if it continues to trade above this 21-day EMA. And if you want to be a little bit more on the safe side, for example, to strengthen the upside idea, maybe you could wait for a push again above the 3,387 territory, and with this one right here marked by the high of the 10th of November, and then yes, we could maybe consider maybe an up move again. However, for now, I'm a little bit more bullish than bearish on this one. However, if suddenly the index starts dropping below the 21-day EMA here and below this 3,326 territory, now that's where a few sellers might step in here and potentially drive this one towards this upside support line taken from the low of the 19th of March. So keep your eyes on that one. Now, jumping into the German DAX here, the index ended the day yesterday slightly below that 13,300 zone. Of course, that doesn't really paint any clear picture here. Basically, on one hand, I needed to see this one staying above the 13,300 zone And if it would do, that, then yes, I could maybe consider a further move higher. But given that we saw a drop below this area, below the 300 level here, then well, and it of course it raises concerns about the upside. However, neither even the bulls, oh sorry, the bears are kind of strong enough to drive this one lower. So that's why for now I'm going to take a bit of a cautious approach here. Looking at the cash index on the German DAX, we can see that the price is currently floating just slightly above that 13,300 level. So in other words, if you want to aim for some higher levels now, probably the safer bet here could be to wait for a push above yesterday's high, which is around the 13,347 territory, and then aim for some higher levels, because until then, well, I mean, it could be a little bit of a tricky one, guys. In terms of the downside here, excuse me, previously I talked about this level here, and to be honest, still I prefer the 13,000 mark, after a break of which we could consider some lower areas. For now it's just yeah, it's not really doing much, to be honest, and we probably need to wait for a bigger, better move here. But in a way, for the downside in the short run, in a way, what you could do, but however, I'm not really maybe very much comfortable with this one, but keep your eyes on this little area, this little inside swing high of the 18th of November, which is around the 13,213 zone. So maybe a drop below this could open the door towards slightly lower areas. But again, it's just a level here that I'm trying to find. But to be honest, it's maybe I'll keep an eye on this one, but probably still, like I said, the more comfortable level for me is this 13,000 zone. And like I said, I'm keeping an eye on this 13,347 territory here on the upside. Now DXY. DXY, the dollar index, continues to drift lower, and yep, everything's kind of working according to the plan. And the plan was, if you remember from my videos, that if the price remains below this 92.24 territory, after of course it got broken here, then yes, further declines are possible. And my next target is the 91.75 territory right here, which is the lowest point of September. And then we'll take it from there, because if that gets broken, well, I mean, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and further declines could be possible. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. For the upside, I need to see a push above the 92.61 level here. I talked about this one previously, but now if we do get a push above this area, because we have shifted a little bit more to the right and declined, the 21-day EMA also declined and kind of is approaching this area. So basically, a pop above the 92.61 territory could also place the price above the 21-day EMA, and then yep, higher levels could be met. Gold is well, finding good support near this 200-day EMA. So for now, and as I've mentioned to you guys recently here this week, that if you want to aim for low, well, let's put it this way. First of all, let's start from the beginning a little bit. We dropped below this 1860 territory. That's great news for the sellers. Yes, I mean, this idea worked out nicely, that one that I talked about. My target was the 200-day EMA, which we've managed to reach perfectly. We didn't quite reach the 1795 zone, but it's fine. I mean, we'll take that. Now the big question here is, can gold drift further south? The only little issue for that is the weaker DXY. If DXY suddenly pops here higher, then yes, gold might drift lower here, and we could keep an eye on this 1795 territory, which a break of which, of course, would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and further declines towards the 1756 level could be possible. For now, keep your eyes on, like I said, DXY, and for gold here, to be honest, if we get a push above yesterday's high, which is roughly around the 1818 level, I talked about this level previously, that's also the high of the 8th of July, then yep, we might see maybe a bit of a push higher here, but again, be very careful, because in a way we could start now, we can start drawing some downside lines here, for example. level, tentative of course, but nevertheless a downside line. So another way that in other words that if we get a push above this 1818 territory, yes, we could maybe consider a bit of an up move here. However, be very careful near this downside line here, because, well, I mean, it might provide resistance, because it's still a little bit unclear, because again, this downside line is a little bit tentative. So, but I'll just keep it for now for the sake of it. Let's see if it works out this way or not. But if it doesn't travel above the 1818 level here, then all eyes are on the 200-day EMA and this 1795 level. In terms of the upside, I need to see a push above the 1860 territory, back above this level, in order to aim for some higher levels. Bitcoin. So I'll go through a few cryptos here. So Bitcoin is retracing, and after kind of reaching that area, slightly above that 1900 level, around the 19,000 level, around it reached the area here yesterday near the that 19,497 mark. So in a way we could round it up towards the 19,500, and the index from there reversed back down. It fell shy, by the way, just by a few hundred points from reaching the all-time high, which is roughly around the 19,891 zone. So now we can see that the crypto is correcting lower. I talked about this idea that cryptos might correct, given the sharp up move we already had. So yep, everything's kind of nice and healthy here. The cryptos are correcting. Looking at this picture from the very short-term perspective, we can see that that Bitcoin is still trading above this short-term upside support line taken from the low the 19th of October, and in a way it could drift a little bit further south, but as you can see today, for example, it found good support near the 17,252 territory, which, by the way, let me just go back here, is the highest point of January of 2018, and this is where the highest point of January 2000, or in other words, actually the highest point of 2018. There we go. So the highest point of 2018 did provide good support, and now the big question here is, can it actually drift further below it? If it can, then it might also be placed below the 21-day EMA, which could, in a way, kind of all this kind of activity could open the door towards a possible test of this upside support line. So in a way, for now, even if it could continue drifting lower, we will be very careful here. Of course, I'll keep an eye on this 17,252 territory, the highest point of 2018. If by any chance it somehow continues to provide good support, then we might see a nice rebound here and a push higher. So again, keep your eyes on this one. For now, we're in correction mode right now, so it could go for a bit of a larger correction given the steep up move that we already had. So and by the way, just before I continue, probably let me just draw this Fibonacci. Now, to draw a Fibonacci, I mean, I'll probably take this low and drag it right here, and you can see that, boom, there we go, beautiful. This level here, the 17,252, came in perfectly at 23.6% retracement. So basically, yep, that's quite interesting, guys. And now the big question here is, can this, and by the way, this other level that I have here, 15,888, kind of coincides with the 38.2% retracement on the Fibonacci. So in a way, for now, if we get a drop below the 17,252 territory, then yep, we could go for a bit of a larger correction towards this upside support line. Ethereum also, it's very close near this upside line of it. This one's taken from the low of the 3rd of November. Now the big question, of course, can it actually drift below it? But or in other words, can this upside line provide good support? Let's see. Again, at the moment, yep, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a neutral stand here. And if we do see a nice rebound from this upside line, yes, great news. We could target the upside again. But if it breaks this, then maybe we could go for a bit of a larger correction to the downside. Litecoin, also I talked about this one yesterday, and basically I was telling you guys to keep an eye on a bunch of these upside lines. Now the steeper one got broken, so that's fine. We can get rid of it. And now of course, all eyes are on this little other tentative upside support line taken from the low the 4th of November. And now we'll see if this upside line can provide good support together with the 21-day EMA. So let's see that if something like that happens. If it does, if we do see a nice rebound, then yep, we could aim for some higher levels again. But if it doesn't, then yep, of course, prepare yourself for maybe a further decline here, especially if it drops below the 68.94 territory right here. AUD/JPY, this one's a good one to keep an eye on. Of course, I've picked up on this one previously, and basically I kept on saying that keep your eyes on the 77.10 zone, which for now is that barrier to keep an eye on. A nice good pop above it may open the door towards higher levels. Of course, my main target will be this highest point of August near the 78.46 zone, but before that, the pair could end up testing this little area right here, the 77.74 zone, marked by the high of the 10th of September. So in other words, guys, still the same game plan remains. I need to see a clear break above this barrier right here in order to get a little bit more excited with the upside. In terms of the downside, yep, the same area. I'm still keeping an eye on the 75.76, and a drop below that could in a way open the door towards slightly lower areas. USD CAD now, this one is quite interesting because we are once again near this key support zone, this 1.2995 area. Yesterday the pair flirted with that zone. It did drop below it initially, but the bulls kind of quickly pushed it higher. Now this morning we saw the pair drifting slightly, fractionally below this hurdle, but then coming back up again. So in other words, guys, for now, be very careful. If we do get a strong move below this area, maybe overcoming yesterday's low, then yes, further declines are possible. But if it continues to struggle here above this, or should I say to struggle to drop below this 1.2995 territory, then maybe we could prepare ourselves for a bit of upside. However, with the upside, it's a little bit tricky here, and to be honest, I would prefer maybe to see a push at least above the 1.3112 zone now, and then aim for some higher levels, because at the moment it's yeah, it's definitely not for the upside, but well, actually I shouldn't say the word definitely, because well, I mean, anything can happen in the market. So but basically for now it's leaning a little bit more towards the downside, I would say, but as I said, we need that confirmation drop first. We cannot really do much here until we get at least a drop below yesterday's low, and of course not to mention this 1.2995 zone again. So yeah, keep your eyes on that one. GBP JPY, quick update here. Also, we're at a very interesting spot right now. The pair is knocking on the door of this key resistance area near the 139.77. Of course, don't get me wrong, we do have this little high here as well, the current highest point of November near the 1.4031 zone. But at the moment, I'm keeping an eye on the high of the 10th of November, which is around the 139.77. Because as you can see, we keep getting these little overshoots, but we don't really get the candle staying above this area. So if we get another pop here, and we get a pop also above yesterday's high, which is around the 139.85 territory, approximately around there. Now that's where it could become a little bit more interesting and promising for the bulls, and then we'll take it from there, guys. Quick update on euro against the Turkish lira. Now here, basically previously I talked about this idea where we could see the pair popping higher and moving higher if it climbs above the 9.2050 territory. It did so. Then it got a hold up around this 9.4691 territory, or in a way 9.47 territory. Got a hold up here, but it stayed above, and basically it did stay above it, but then yesterday it dropped below it, and then today now it seems that it wants to make its way higher again. Now, to be honest, First of all, probably this level here, it did kind of provide a good area. I would say that this level, it wasn't a particular level, it was more of an area around that 9.47 mark. So how we could look at this right now is, if by any chance it starts dropping back down here and drops back below the 21-day EMA, then yes, we could consider maybe a move lower. However, at the moment, it's looking a little bit more positive, to be honest. However, as I said to you guys previously, that I would prefer to wait for a push above the 9.68 82 zone, roughly around here, and then aim for some higher levels. But let's see how this is going to play out. Of course, if you want to be a little bit more on the safe side, or not actually on the safe side, but on the contrary, on the risky side, 9.55 level, the current highest point of this week, that's what you could keep an eye on. And if we get a pop above this, then yes, we could then target this 9.6882 zone. So let's see how this is going to play out. And finally, EURUSD. So we managed to stay above the 1.1880 territory. We've popped above the 1.1918 level that I talked about. We didn't really the daily candle didn't really stay above this 1.1918 level. It just kind of stayed very close to it. So to be honest, we'll take that. So far, everything's looking quite positive here for the euro dollar. And to be honest, as I said to you guys previously, that if we see the pair overcoming these two obstacles, the 1.1880 and the 1.1918, there is a good chance for this pair to drift further north, potentially even targeting that psychological 120 zone. So and also, of course, the weakening US dollar could also help EURUSD to move further up here. So let's see how this is going to play out, guys. For now, I'm a little bit more positive than negative on this one, and yep. However, if it suddenly starts dropping back below this 1.1880 zone, now this is where I'm going to take a neutral stand again and observe the price action. Because for me to consider maybe the downside, I would like to see at least a drop somewhere below the 1.1795 territory and then aim for some lower areas. I might adjust this area later on, the breakout to the downside, but depending on how this is going to move. But for now, I'm going to keep it here. So guys, I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate you guys joining in. I thank you very much for the likes as well. So yep, I really appreciate that. If you want to catch my video later on, my traders tea time, as always, 14:15 GMT, guys. For now, I have a wonderful trading day. Stay safe, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.